It all started innocently enough, a playful dog filter here, a vintage tone there. Social media platforms like Instagram and Snapchat introduced filters as a fun way to enhance photos and express creativity. But what began as a lighthearted tool soon evolved into something far more profound, and far more problematic. Filters became more than just a way to add a little flair to your selfies. They became a gateway to a new world of curated perfection, reshaping beauty standards, personal expression, and even the way we connect with one another. As filters became more advanced, so did their impact. Augmented reality filters allowed users to smooth their skin, enlarge their eyes, slim their faces, and even change their bone structure. The perfect selfie was no longer just about good lighting or angles, it was about creating an idealized version of oneself. This shift didn't just change how we saw ourselves, it changed how we saw beauty itself. Filters created a new standard of perfection, one that was unattainable in real life.
I remember the first time I used a filter that made my skin look flawless. I thought, wow, this is what I'm supposed to look like. I started using filters so much that I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror anymore. The real me didn't feel good enough.
The impact of these filtered realities extended far beyond the screen. Studies began to show a sharp rise in anxiety, depression, and body dysmorphia, particularly among young users. The constant exposure to curated perfection created a toxic cycle of comparison and self-doubt. For many, the line between reality and the filtered world began to blur.
Filters create an unrealistic standard of beauty. When young people are constantly exposed to these idealized images, they start to believe that this is the norm. It erodes their self-esteem and distorts their perception of reality.
As filters became a staple of online self-expression, they began to infiltrate the world of dating. Profiles filled with flawless, filtered selfies became the norm. But what happened when these digital personas met reality? For many, the disconnect was jarring. Studies show that 90% of such dates fail, primarily because the filtered images didn't match the real person.
I showed up to the date and I didn't even recognize her. She looked nothing like her photos. I felt catfished. It's like I was talking to a completely different person.
The impact of filtered selfies didn't stop at dating. For couples in long-term relationships and marriages, the pressure to maintain a perfect online image created new tensions. Partners began to compare themselves not just to strangers online, but to their own filtered versions. The pursuit of digital perfection began to erode trust and intimacy.
Filters create an unrealistic expectation of what a partner should look like. When reality doesn't match the filtered image, it can lead to disappointment, insecurity, and even conflict.
This is not just a Western phenomenon. The rise of filtered selfies has become a global crisis, affecting users across cultures, genders, and age groups. From Asia to Africa, from Europe to the Americas, the pressure to conform to filtered beauty standards is reshaping identities and relationships worldwide.
Filters are creating a homogenized standard of beauty that erases cultural diversity. What's considered beautiful is increasingly defined by a narrow, filtered ideal.
So what can be done to address this crisis? The first step is awareness. We need to recognize the impact of filters on our mental health, our relationships, and our sense of self. Social media platforms are beginning to take action, with some introducing features to label filtered content. But the real change must come from us, the users.
We need to celebrate natural beauty and authenticity. We need to teach young people that their worth is not defined by a filtered image.
The power to change lies in our hands. Let's reclaim our authenticity. Let's celebrate our imperfections. Let's remember that true beauty, true connection, and true success are not found in the filtered world. They are found in the raw, unfiltered moments of life. It's time to put down the filters and embrace the real, imperfect, beautiful world around us. Together we can create a world where beauty is diverse, where connections are genuine, and where our worth is defined not by a filter but by who we truly are.